All right, so the results of the 93rd Academy Awards are out. Yeah, so anyway, they're all available now. To get a detailed summary of all of the winners, again, congratulations to all those who won. Nomadland, as I predicted, won Best Picture. Everyone who won, congratulations. So check out my post on this on Instagram and Facebook if you're interested to know all of the winners of this year's Oscars. So we're gonna time travel. And the past Abraham will talk about a detailed summary, well, more of a synopsis rather, and some things that you might be interested in knowing before watching some of the nominees for the Oscars. Actually, I recommend all na matry nyo siya. Pero kung hindi kaya, there are some that I would just really recommend for you to try out and watch. So yeah, take it away, Abraham. A week ago, 5 days ago.
Tonight, we've hopefully brought to light the impact that films have made and can make on our lives as individuals and on society as a whole. For the Academy, here are the films that made the greatest impact this year.
So let's start off with the first film I saw last year, which is The Trial of the Chicago 7.
You know why you're on trial here?
We want to underscore again that we're coming to Chicago peacefully, but whether we're given permits or not, we're coming.
Like the title suggests, 7 people on trial during this Chicago, like almost like convention. So the setting is during the Vietnam War. This is based off of true events, and it follows the trial process of different individuals with different group interests.
What were supposed to be peaceful protests. That peaceful protest ended up being an incredibly bloody clash with the police and the National Guard. We've never really seen anything quite like it in this country.
So this movie stars Sacha Baron Cohen and many more. Actually, siya ang standout sa akin. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is here also. What I appreciate about this film is how there's so many actors, but they come in together perfectly. And you don't miss one of all of the characters that are going on in this film.
One of the things I love about this film is that every character has an arc and every character has a moment, and I think it's a testament to the depth of the script and the delicious quality of Aaron's writing.
We were asking these people, all of whom can and frequently do carry their own movies, to be part of an ensemble, a large ensemble.
Cinematography and direction is on point. And this was actually one that I predicted would be nominated, so I'm excited and happy that they are nominated for Best Motion Picture. I just have to give props to Aaron Sorkin, who directed this film. It's just on another level in terms of telling a story like this in a different perspective. You just gotta watch it because it's just a visual, and in terms of story, you'll root and you'll be against some people, and you'll actually be shocked with some performances as well. The second one that I saw was Mank.
I wanted to talk about the kind of petting zoo that the process of cinema really is, as opposed to this notion of this sort of science experiment and the personalities involved.
You remember our chairman, Louis V. Mayer? By reputation only.
Mank follows Herman Mankiewicz, who wrote the screenplay for another famous and classic film called Citizen Kane, which if you probably look at top 100 films of all time, nandun ang Citizen Kane. Black and white film. It's an old Hollywood story done in an old Hollywood way, which is just brilliantly done. I'm not a fan, honestly, of black and white, but this one works. Kasi here's the thing, with black and white, hindi lang yan ina-add ng filter after shooting. You have to think of the end product while you're shooting. So you're thinking of the light, the shadows, so that there's a consistent look even when you edit.
I had shot black and white still photography quite a bit, particularly as a student, but I hadn't lit it very much. I found myself really trying to check my choices and make sure that everything was motivated from what David had put on the set with the actors and what the scene needed.
Gary Oldman, still the star of the show. Others tend to fade in the background, but Gary Oldman, his acting is spot on.
Well, the thing that Gary brought to the character was a humanity and an empathy. And he was incredibly charming. He had to have been charming to get by with so much of the antics that he got by with.
It's a mix of what I call talkies. It's a thing me and my auntie use now. Talkies meaning a lot of dialogue. So there's a lot of that you have to pay attention to. But there's also a nice combination of other movements, and also it's a nice visual experience also. For me, it's visually appealing, that's for sure. The third film was entitled Nomad.
You are one of those lucky people that can travel anywhere.
Yes, ma'am, I know.
And they sometimes call you nomads.
Mauubos pala oras ka nito. Just talking about Nomadland. Nomadland, it's more than just a visual cinematic experience. It's a life experience. If you want to experience what life really is about, you watch this film. Honestly, it's slow. The pacing, for some people, you might need to get accustomed to it.
It's going to be not just a passing through space, but also time. We schedule the production according to the season. The palette of the location changes. In the edit, is trying to figure out how to make us to feel like a year has passed with those little short montage.
It took me 2 days to finish this. So that's just a background about how I needed to process everything. If you do your research, you'll appreciate the director, Chloe Zhao, who has so little in terms of her filmography list. But so far, what I've heard are nothing but praises for her. Grabbing an Oscar probably if she wins this, because she already grabbed the Critics' Choice Awards and Golden Globes for Best Director. So if she grabs this one and then goes on to a Marvel film, it's like she's done everything. She utilized just a few actors, and the rest are real-life people who are nomads. So you have the raw, authentic lines that she allowed them just to pour out everything.
I was able to meet each of them and got to know them and heard a lot of their stories. And our challenge was, how do we incorporate their stories into Fern's journey?
So Nomadland follows kasi this woman who practically lost her town, lost everything, lost her husband, and then after a while she decides to leave. Actually, it took her how long to leave, and then now she's embracing the nomadic life, and just the storytelling and emphasizing what this concept of being a nomad is just brilliant. And it just shows life in general, this film. Simplicity and relationships, loss and heartbreak, all rolled into one, but then just embracing life and its beauty, going from place to place. And I love how it emphasizes in this movie what this concept is really all about. Because I had zero knowledge about this, na meron palang mga gumagawa nito sa States. They're not homeless, but they are houseless.
No, I'm not homeless. I'm just houseless. Not the same thing, right? No.
And they make every place that they go to their home. They go work at different, hindi siya big time companies, like fast food chains and stuff like that. Little jobs to sustain them. So they're not poor, but they're actually very rich, not just in terms of the finances, but in terms of embracing what life is all about. The fourth film, this is what I consider as my palate cleanser, which pushed me to watch everything else. Kumbaga, Nomadland, na-drain ako because it was just so emotional, and it was just so, like everything was just poured out already. Like, oh my gosh. But then, Young Promising Woman.
What are the themes of the movie? I would say forgiveness, romance, revenge, Paris Hilton.
Is a shocker for me. First, a comedy film.
So there is a whole part of the film that feels like you're in like a really great 90s rom-com.
And a thriller rolled into one. You have something that resembles Gone Girl for me, but in a more light, fun, pop culture kind of way. Even the saturated vibes of the colors, just bright, it pops.
Actually, the whole movie in general, I wanted to kind of make sure that these things that we kind of think of as silly and our culture dismisses, like clothes, makeup, pop music, stuff that, you know, some women, not all women, enjoy, treat it seriously.
Carey Mulligan is a revelation, and parang mic drop. Carey Mulligan, where, how, paano, galing niya, to be honest. She, like I said, reminds me of Gone Girl because of Rosamund Pike, that very psychotic, you know, brilliant mind to act that way is just spot on. This woman who lost her best friend, and it is basically a story that tells us all about rape culture and the patriarchal society, and how even here lines such as she was begging for it as an excuse to, you know, take advantage of a woman were used. And it's just a, you know, if you think about it, it's a very heavy theme or topic for a movie. But the comedy part here, the light aspect, does not rob you of the hard, heavy-hitting story, which is so hard to do. To have a very serious topic, feel that it's light, it's, you know, madali siyang panoorin, but at the same time, wait, ang bigat pa rin pala niya. If it wasn't nominated for an Academy Award, I wouldn't have seen it. So, and I would have missed out on it. It's really good. I mean, kudos to the team of Young Promising Woman. Then after that, I saw The Sound of Metal.
I think it's important that you stay here with us right now, Ruben. We're looking for a solution to this. Not this.
The Sound of Metal follows this punk rock metal drummer who suddenly experiences loss in his hearing. The sound editing is spot on to give us this feeling of this guy going deaf. And it's not just complete silence, but you know, that muffled, you know, when you try to, parang canned sound siya. A very familiar story for me nga lang. Emotional, yes, but for me it's just to, like I've seen a combination of films like this rolled into one, a drug addict, a musician. It feels very familiar. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Okay, here's the thing. I liked it still, but I don't think in terms of story it was something special and new. Minari.
고춧가루. 여긴 이런 걸 구할 수가 없어. 멸치도 가져온 거야?
야, 또 울어? 멸치 때문에 울어?
Got me shocked with this one. How do I say this? It's a Korean film. I'm not a fan of K-dramas, but I love Parasite from the winner of last year's Academy Awards. This one, with all honesty, is really good. This is the only film that made me cry. It follows a Korean family, well, they're Korean American. Now, parang the dad uprooted their lives from California, the city, to this farm that he's trying to build. And then their son actually has problems with his heart. So they asked the grandmother from South Korea to fly over and stay with them. And it's just a heartwarming experience between this grandson and grandmother. The young actor who won Critics' Choice Awards for Best Child Performer. Amazing. Cute niya. It's just emotional, and I didn't think I would be that emotional about it. It's relatable, about family and about really treasuring culture, basically. You always go back to who you are and to your roots.
I remember those things from my past. The greatest thing you can ask for as an actor is to feel like you're transported to a place when you get there.
Going down to our last two films, so we have The Father.
I'm not leaving my flat! I am not leaving my flat! This really is my flat. Isn't it?
Another film that surprised me, I wasn't thinking of watching this, but now I'm glad that I did. It follows, basically if I summarize it, it's dementia in a nutshell. It's also bigger than that because it talks about family, relationships, sanity, also dealing with growing old, the fears of losing one's leaves, as this character says in the end, losing one's mind and losing people that he loves. So it's so cool how it's done. This one is a poetic, artistic way of showing what dementia may look like. I'm not sure if it's accurately like this.
So I just had a glimpse of what it must be like to lose sense of time. Thinking in my head, did I just say that in the future?
Sobrang familiar lang talaga ng boses ni Anthony Hopkins. It's soothing and his acting delivers. I was hesitant actually to watch this kasi sabi ko baka boring to. But the only thing I was clinging on to was Anthony Hopkins, and he steals the show, man. And last is Judas and the Black Messiah.
You can murder a liberator, but you can't murder liberation. You can murder a revolutionary, but you can't murder revolution. And you can murder a freedom fighter, but you can't murder freedom.
It's this powerful story of, you know, not just one race claiming for equality. It's that ongoing struggle for equality for all and for people just being treated as humans.
I think that the subject matter that this movie is covering is ultimately timeless, and will, I look forward to the day that it's not relevant.
Full circle siya from what I first watched. Gives a bigger and better detailed picture if you put both together, Trial of Chicago 7 and this one, of the Vietnam War and the implications of that, and the fight of people for, them seeing it as an injustice, sending Americans, also especially I guess maraming African Americans who were sent to fight a war that they were obviously not winning at that time. So this is a great story which emphasizes the overall theme of what I want to talk about, which is the power of films and how, when you watch movies like These 8, you're not going to be disappointed because of the storytelling and how you can relate as a human person. So that's it for this video. Hope to see you guys again soon. Like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell, and remember to make every day into an adventure. That's all here at AVLogs, your go-to place for movies, music, television, books, travel, and everything and anything in between. See you guys again soon.